Today we're going to talk about the truth about intuition that nobody told you. Welcome, family. I'm Unc, founder of the Divinepreneur podcast, the number one show dedicated to helping coaches grow spiritually and build a business that created lasting impact and income the divine way. Let's get into it. So, to dive deep on intuition, first we got to get on the same page on what it is, right? We all may have different definitions. So, intuition is simply the information that comes from within, right? Undue to our own effort or will, right? Insights, guidance, you name it. All right, so now that we're on the same page on what is intuition, now it's time to get to the first truth. The first truth about intuition that people usually don't talk about is intuition is not a feeling. I see this a lot when it comes to my clients, my friends, especially my female friends, because y'all so in tune with within, is they confuse vibes from intuition. They confuse this ability to sense the energy in a situation or room with intuition from within or from above. And when we don't understand the difference between these two things, which we'll cover in this first point, it can really derail our relationships, our business, our goals. All right. So the thing we need to know about intuition is that mental activity and intuition do not coexist. Intuition, especially divine intuition that comes from the ancestors, that comes from source, that comes from your guardian angels, who comes from, places of the highest realms, right? Cannot coexist with our own mental and emotional activity. So here's an analogy or a mental picture that I love to use when it comes to really understanding how intuition works. And this didn't come from me, right? This comes from the ancestors and my teachers, right? Picture a small pond, and inside that pond, there's a message, right? At the bottom of the pond, it's a shallow pond. And you can only see, you can only perceive, you can only have awareness of the message that's trying to come to you if the pond is still. If there is any ripples in that pond, if there's any activity in that pond, the image becomes unclear, right? So we are vessels that have the potential to constantly receive downloads from the divine. So we must have a vessel that's clear of static, that's clear of activity. We must have a vessel of stillness to truly receive divine downloads. So when you're in a situation and you realize that, I guess to put it this way, one of the most important things you could do to really discern the difference between an intuition and a vibe, and they both have their place, is to pay attention. Do you have a feeling first and then thoughts come to mind? Or do you have a thought or an insight come to you that's void of any emotion, that's void of anything of your effort, and then inspiration comes, right? So it is such thing as receiving an insight and then being inspired, feeling energized. But the difference is that you do not feel compelled to act upon it. You don't feel compelled to take some type of action. So back in the Kemetic tradition, we have a caricature to describe this force known as intuition to receive infinite knowledge, right? And we called it Tahuti, and it was a bird, right? Tahuti is a bird, and one of the symbols for truth as well as intuition is a feather. And they said truth is light as a feather. Intuition is light as a feather. So if you're in an emotional state, if you're in an agitated state of fear, of anxiety, even extreme excitement and joy, you got to be careful to really pay attention. It's that intuition, right? So that's one of the first things that I like to share. So now number two, the second truth that we have to understand about intuition that nobody's talking about is that all intuition is not divine. All information that comes from within about our life, our business, our relationships did not come from source. We have many voices within. Within this temple, within this vehicle that we drive and navigate throughout our world, this world and our life, there are many voices from within. For example, you have your own thinking process, right? And intuition typically comes when you are not thinking, when you're not focusing on something. And that's when it comes, right? So one of the voices from within is you. But have you ever noticed throughout your day just the craziest thoughts that come in your mind about somebody or about something? You just, I can't believe that I'm thinking that. But the truth is that we are like antennas and we are all interconnected with each other in our environment, with other people, with technology, with radio waves, name it. We are walking antennas, right? Plugged into everything that's around us, right? Some of us are more sensitive than others, but we all are connected. So a lot of times when we receive thoughts, insights, and just things pop in our mind, positive or negative, it's not even coming from us. It's coming from our environment. So far, those three voices, the voices from the divine or from source, your own voice, right, of your mental activity, and also the downloads in your environment. Well, guess what? There are many others. There are voices that come from past traumas, habits that have been, hardwired into us from childhood, right? We call it childhood traumas that play out like a movie scene or like a record, right, over and over again. And we think those are intuitions, but really those past traumas or even our health, right? Last one, there's many more, but even our health, because this is something we have to think about. Within us, we're dealing with a lot of sicknesses. Within us, we have many other life forms, bacteria, viruses, cancers, you name it. All these things have mental activities. These are intelligences within you, especially when we get to parasites and things like that. These things have the ability to communicate to you on what to eat, how to mate, what to do, right? And so, with that being said, every voice from within is not coming from God. It's not coming from divine. So we really have to learn to discern. So then the question is, how can we tell the difference? Well, that comes from truth. Tip number one, are you in a place of stillness, right? Are you in a place of peace? And whatever the insight that's coming to you, is it leading to positive results in your life? These are many things that I wish my younger self would have known, right? It would have helped me avoid so many, relationship issues, wasted business ventures and investments, right? And so now we're going to come to the last tip of today about the truth about intuition that nobody is telling us, right? And so the third thing is intuition is momentary and it's limited. Intuition is momentary and it's limited. What do I mean by this? Intuition is like a bolt of lightning. I can't think of the deity or the caricature in ancient India that they used to describe this aspect of intuition. And I'm kicking myself right now because I'm failing the ancestors, right? But I will get that back to you. And so, and it's kind of coming from Zeus and things like that. But they describe intuition like a bolt of lightning. And if you imagine a bolt of lightning, it's it's flash. It's fast, it's bright, it's brilliant, and it's temporary. It comes and it goes. And when it comes, it lights up the night sky, but not the whole sky. You can't see the whole city like when it's daytime and the sun is out and you can see with great clarity everything that's going on in your environment, how everything connects together. When you have intuition or when there's a thunderbolt or lightning in the sky, you only see a flash of the reality, a flash of the truth that something or someone, ancestor, God, or whatever, is trying to communicate to you when it comes to intuition. So what do we do, and why is this important to understand about the fact that intuition is momentary and it's limited? The first thing is understanding that since intuition is limited. Just because you receive an insight, and we confirm that it's an intuition, right? We confirm through paying attention, are we in a state of stillness? Is it not coming from past traumas through reflection and awareness? Once we confirm there is an intuition, let's say you get an insight to start or to navigate a certain business path, right? A certain product or service. Maybe it's I don't know, a retail chain or whatever it may be. Just because you got insight to go into that direction, that doesn't mean you need to take action, or that doesn't mean you fully prepared to take advantage of it yet, right? You only have a glimpse of the game plan or the holistic understanding of how to move down that path. So understand that every intuition that's confirmed to be an intuition doesn't mean you're prepared to act on, or don't mean you have a full understanding when it comes to your health, your relationships, or wherever, right? So the first thing you have to do when you receive an insight and it's confirmed that it's an intuition is then to meditate on it. And I'll do a whole episode on meditation and why this is important. But once you meditate on that lightning bolt that flashed throughout your mind, you'll start to see that your awareness of the situation expands, right? And more insights start to come in and kind of fill the puzzle pieces for you, right? And as you meditate on your intuitions over time, you begin to get the whole picture. So that's the first thing. Meditate on your intuitions so you can get the big picture and understand how to take advantage of what the divine is trying to communicate to you. The second thing is journal, journal, journal. Tell your family. I have so many journals back here. So many journals back here that's filled with intuitions. And some of them, was coming from the divine. Some of them was coming from trauma. Some of them was coming from my own cultural and society programmings, right? But part of the process is capturing. And I'm telling you what I do. I put the date and the time of every intuition that I receive. And in the later episodes, I'll show you how to track exactly where they're coming from, how to use astrology, how to use readings, how to use different tools to really figure out where are these insights coming from. But that'll be for later. All right. So journal, date, and time every intuition that you have, and then meditate on it. So now, in recap, family, the 3 truths that I shared with you today about intuition that nobody's talking about is 1, intuition only truly comes in a place of stillness. Mental activity, which includes emotions and thoughts, and intuition do not coexist. We must have an empty vessel, free of static, and a clear waters for us to receive the messages from the divine. 2, every voice does not come from God. Every voice does not come from above. So really gain awareness and reflect on your past intuitions, your actions, and what's going on within you to really make sure that you're acting on the right voice. And then 3, journal and meditate on your intuitions so you can gain a big picture of how to take advantage of the guidance that's coming from above. So, all right, family, thank you for joining me for this episode of the Divine Podcast. And listen, click the link in the bio so you can follow me on all the podcasting platforms along with social media. And as well, in that special link, you'll find a way to book a call with me if you want more help on learning how to leverage the power of intuition so you can direct it towards your business, your relationships, and really, awaken your divinity and build an amazing business to impact the world.